Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome to day 2 of SBR revision, and today we are going to cover ethics because ethics is primarily an important topic. You will definitely get a question on ethics in your question number 2 for 20 marks question, and the 2 professional marks will be on your ethical question. That's why it's very important that you pay careful attention to your questions on ethics, right? And this is the easiest topic, trust me, easiest topic to get marks, provided that you follow certain guidelines on how to answer a question on ethics. So let's start, guys. Overview: ethical issues facing the accountant, ethical codes of conduct, and consequences of unethical behavior. So we are going to go through this. So, what's an overview? Question 2 in SBR exam will test the reporting and ethical implications of specific event. Okay, so in order to answer ethical questions, guys, I recommend you that do ethics question at the end. At the end means ethical questions are always asked at the end in question number 2. Before that, you have some questions based on what are the implications on reporting implications. They will be giving you some issues with the standard, different standards, 3 4 standards will be there, and you have to tell the reporting issues. That means you have to correct. They must have recognized something incorrectly, right? They must have not recognized something which they should recognize or measure. They have measured it in an inappropriate way, or they have not presented. So these issues, right, these are reporting issues. So first questions, 1 or 2 questions will be on reporting issues, then the second is, the last one is on ethics, where you'll be having the 2 professional marks as well. So first you answer that reporting implications based on the standard, then you go to ethical implications. Why? Because your ethical implications that you're going to explain will be based on that reporting issues only. They are linked, they are not separate. Reporting issues is separate, ethical impli no, they are linked. So if you answered well on your reporting implications, you will definitely write better in your ethical implications as well. Because when you're writing your ethical answers, you have to write specifically to those reporting issues. One example I will give you. For example, the finance manager told the accountant is new. Okay, this is a scenario I'm giving, a basic scenario. This is mostly used in your exam also. I'm just giving a brief scenario, not a detailed scenario, just to have an understanding on how to write ethical questions. Mostly ethical questions are for 7 marks, okay? 2 marks will be professional marks, so you can see it's for 9 marks. So, where did I stop? Financial manager or any manager is telling the accountant to not recognize the non-current asset, to recognize the non-current asset at a cost value, historical cost. But they know that reporting it at a historical cost is not relevant and it will not faithfully represent. Instead, recognizing it at a fair value will prove more reliable, and it will be a more faithful representation. But the accountant is told by the financial manager that if you don't do so, if you try to correct it, you have to do as I say, what I say. If you don't do it, then you will lose your jobs, or I will not pay you enough, something like that. Okay, so what happens now? There are 2 issues. One is reporting implications from this, because it's not correct. Earlier we went through conceptual framework. There they told that when you have this measurement choices, you have to choose which is more relevant and faithfully represent the actual scenario. So knowingly they have used a cost model, not the revaluation, not the fair value model, which is incorrect, right? So first you have to correct it according to IS 16. Number 1. Number 2, there is an ethical implication also from this. So if you have answered the reporting implication on this while you are answering, when you come to ethics question, now you know, okay, this was the scenario. So now you can specifically direct your answer to that scenario. And it's not just one scenario, there are 2 3 scenarios that will be given, which will give you the marks. This is how you get marks for ethical implication question. Ethics is not general answer the way you used to think. Yes, there are some general guidelines. For example, the 5 code of ethics is there. Out of the 5, which one is breached? What are the actions that the accountant has to do? These are common. But when you're talking about ethical issues, you have to link it to the reporting issues. So that's an issue, reporting issue as well as ethical issue, because the accountant is being forced by the financial manager to do an incorrect method. Maybe they have some this thing, right? They will give you some opportunity will be there. For example, they want to something like that. They want to show an higher profit because their bonuses is based on that. That's why they are doing certain recognition measurement which is not appropriate according to the standard. So this is an ethical issue also, because as a professional accountant, as an ACCM member, you are not supposed to do this. So this is how you start your ethical answer with. Then you will be giving the general, then you will be telling, proceeding to the out of this which code of ethics has been breached, confidentiality, objectivity, all those things. And then finally you are giving recommendations to whom, the accountant, what they should do in this scenario, because he is the one who is faced with this ethical dilemma, what he has to do in this condition, because he has two duties to do. He has to see, one duty is to whom, the financial manager, because he has appointed him, his salary, his fees is based on him. If he does not do what he says, he'll be thrown out of the job, number one. Number two is, he is a ACCA member, he's a professional accountant. So here he have a duty, right? To that also, his profession also. You have to follow the ethical guidelines, the ACCA's code of ethics and conduct. Okay, and mind you, the way you give your recommendations, action should be something practical, and most of the actions are very similar. To every question you see, you can pick up the trend. You learn one ethical answer, you understood the whole ethics. That's what I would say. You don't have to keep on repeating recommendation, recommend this. The recommendation part is same, but the rest all reporting issues are different from question to question. So based on that, your ethics answer will change. You understanding? And two professional marks. Okay, so that's how you get the professional mark. What is the layout? What is the structure? The way you are recommending and all. Remember, two professional mark does not mean that you have to write two extra points to get those marks. No, not at all. That's a very wrong misconception by students. Professional marks means how you are presenting yourself, what is the tone that you are applying, how you are writing the answer. Okay, so exam kit questions in this area. One is Hudson, one is Fiskerton. I think I have done both these questions. It's there on my revision kit solutions. You can go and check out there. Because I remember ethics question, I've completed all the ethics question is there on my YouTube channel. Now let us go to, and yes for home. Let us go to the ethical issues that are facing the accountant. You start your ethics answer with this. What are the ethical issues that the accountant is facing? So, professional ethics are the principles and standards that underlie the responsibilities and conduct of a person performing. So, what do you mean by ethics? These are the principles, the high level of principle, the moral character that you have to uphold as an accountant, the standard that you are supposed to comply with. You have some responsibilities, okay, to the general public as well, and also to your profession, and also to whom, under whom you are working. Okay, and conduct of a person in performing his or function in a particular field of expertise. It could be in any field. In any field, unique ethics. Remember that. Not only for ACCA accountant or not. Whether you are a doctor, whether you are an engineer, you have this professional ethics in every field. You have to uphold that standard. But definitely for an ACCA member, it's more. The reason is because we have a responsibility to the general public. What happens when doctor is blamed for performing an incorrect surgery? What happens? See, doctor and patient is one-to-one relation. If a doctor has done something in his profession which is not correct, which is not ethical, what happens? We blame that one doctor. That does not mean we do not trust other doctors. We'll definitely not trust that person, but we will definitely go to some better doctor. But not in auditing and accountant. Auditing and accountant is not like that. That's why more focus is emphasized on what? These ethical issues are more emphasized in this field, audit, accountant, because we owe a duty to the general public. We are not affecting one person. We are affecting all those people who are taking decision based on that financial statement that they're relying on. The financial statements which are prepared by us if we are an accountant. The financial statements which are audited by the auditor if they are the auditor. And if any mistake, or if an auditor and accountant is found to be guilty, they're not performing the ethics, they're not complying with the professional ethics, what happens? The blame is not for that single accountant or auditor, the whole profession. It brings a discredit to the whole profession overall. This auditors are bad, accountants are bad, because it's not one-to-one relation, it's one-to-many relation. That's why we carry that huge burden on us. We have more responsibility to follow ethics. Definitely, I'm not saying that other fields should not follow, but this is a more serious issue that every accountant and auditor should think about it. Okay, so ethical principles are important in a business organization, as they set the tone for the culture. It talks about the culture of your organization and also the behavior of employees and management. The application of ethics can sometimes be intangible. Ethics is often described as doing the right thing, but this can mean different things to different individuals. Not everyone has the same thought about ethical issue. What you think right might be wrong for someone else. Okay, so this is the overall scenario what's happening. Accountant, they are trusted to produce the financial statements, which is relevant as well as faithfully represent. Then they present the financial statements. Then these financial statements will be relied upon whom? The stakeholders, the various stakeholders, the bank, the customer, the supplier, the shareholder, the lender, everyone, the government. That's why this ethics is very important here. And that's why this is the first topic also. Before I start any standard, we start with ethics. So ethical code of conduct. What are the ethical code of conduct? There are some ethical code of conduct is there. The reason why this ethical code of conduct is set, because then everyone will follow ethics according to their wish. They will say, I think this is ethical. Then no one can question them, right? The other person will say, I feel this is ethical. That's why there are 5 ethical code of conducts, and every ACCA member or an accountant are bound by this ethical code of conduct. There are 5 ethical code of conduct, and everyone is bound by this. So no one can say that I am ethical doing an incorrect thing, doing a thing which is wrong, because you will be judged against this 5 ethical code of conduct. If you are complying with this 5 ethical code of conduct, yes, then you are ethical. Otherwise, you are not. Sometimes you might not breach all of them together. Being unethical does not mean you're breaching all the 5. You might be breaching 1, or you might be breaching 2 out of the 5. Still you are an unethical. Okay? So you're expected to add according to this is known as ACC's code of ethics. Okay? And this applies to all students, being an ACCA student or an associate or a member. Students, affiliate member, everyone. Not only for one category of person. Not only that after you become a member only you will be following ethics, no. And the code is in a form of framework. This is not a rule based, it's a principle based approach. Okay, but some specific rules are also included there. Definitely we don't have to go in depth what are the rules and all those things. We only have to know the 5 ACC's code of ethics. That's it. So number 1, integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, professional behavior and confidentiality. These are the 5. So when you're writing your answer on ethics, make sure that you're mentioning about not all the 5, because it depends on your scenario. Out of this 5, which one is breached by that manager who is telling the accountant to do this so and so. Okay. So first you will be talking about what? Reporting. First, how do you start your answer? By linking it with the reporting issues that you have already answered earlier. But we are talking from the point of ethics now. You're not saying that, okay, under I-16 it has to be recorded like this. No. From ethics you are telling. How are you linking it with ethics? By linking this 5. You have to say out of this 5 which one is breached. So you can say, for example, recording this way means they have breached integrity, the fundamental principles of integrity. Doing it this way has meant that they have breached the fundamental principle of objectivity. So this is how you link the two. The reporting issue with the breaching of fundamental principles out of this 5. At least out of this 5, at least 2 or 3. Every question. They will set in such a way that out of this 5, 2 or 3 is breached. So whatever is breached only you have to write. Don't write the list. Integrity definition, objectivity definition, professional competence definition. No. And most of the time it has been seen that first 2 are breached. Number one is integrity, number one, two is objectivity. Integrity means honest. You're not honest. You're not straightforward. Objectivity means what? You're being influenced by someone else. It's not your decision. You're not independent. Professional competence and due care means, see, you don't have to give definition of this. Okay, I'm just explaining you the definitions. So professional competence and due care is you should have the knowledge, up-to-date skills and expertise. For that, you can do continuing professional development and take courses and all those things. Confidentiality, from the word itself, understood, right? You have to keep the information that you have been passed with each other confidential and not share with the third party or anyone unless you have the duty to do so by the law or by certain circumstances. One example is fraud, money laundering. In this case, you have to report to the money laundering officer. Then you cannot keep the fundamental principles of confidentiality. But that does not mean you are breaching confidentiality. But let's not go to that depth now. Okay. Professional behavior. Professional behavior means you are not doing anything that brings a discredit to your profession. Okay. For example, you being an accountant, you are hanging out with the financial manager day night, you are being very familiar. So this shows that you are not independent. Okay. This shows that whatever they tell you, you will be listening. Okay. This makes you appear like this. So that's not a professional behavior. So these are the five. Next, what are the consequences of this unethical behavior? So these are some consequences. Loss of reputational damage. Conviction of criminal offense. Yes, sometimes it could be a criminal offense. For example, if you are involved in money laundering or fraud, a serious fraud, then court order to pay financial compensation. Yes. CDDA disqualification order. You might be disqualified to act as an accountant in the future. And disciplinary action by the professional body, including expulsion. Sometimes they might expel you as well. Okay. Then, so that's it for ethics. So tomorrow I'm going to cover IS1 the next. So till then, thank you for watching and see you in IS1, that is presentation of financial statement. That is the foundation of all the standards. How do you present assets, liability, income, expense, equity, all those things. Okay. So see you in the next video.